There is a massive hole in the Charlie Kirk murder timeline, and there is an encounter that changes everything we thought we knew about this case. And listen, there's been a ton of courtroom bombshells, but this is the courtroom bombshell of all bombshells that nobody seems to be talking about, and I cannot stop thinking about this testimony. So day 2 of the Charlie Kirk murder preliminary hearing might have been the most consequential yet since all of this went down, because for the first time, prosecutors played hours of surveillance footage that they say reconstructs the accused movements before, during, and after at Utah Valley University on September 10th. And buried inside that timeline were several moments that myself and the rest of this public, we have never heard before. Details that completely changed the questions I was asking as I watched. None of them were highlighted in the headlines. We had to go digging for them, and none of them were fully explained in court. And if the defense is right about what those videos show, and the prosecutors are right about what those videos show, then there are parts of this story that deserve a much closer look. So I'm going to go through exactly what was revealed and why this one particular moment may end up being the biggest bombshell of the entire hearing. Because who did Tyler meet with? Who did Tyler Robinson meet with the morning of the pew-pewing? And real quick, if you're new here, I'm Lauren Paritra, Willa Paritra. We're going through some really tough health stuff. So a reminder, we do this independent, network-free, bootstrapped every single day out of pure principle and a refusal to let these grifter ass bitches like Katie Miller, wife of Stephen Little Bitch Miller, ever get ahead. So consider every sub, every comment, every follow, comment 6 words or more, every 5-star rating wherever you listen to your podcast. Consider every action and FU to Katie and Stephen Little Bitch Miller. And also, more than anything, consider that a really powerful way to support Willa and I right now while we navigate some really not fun senior dog health stuff. So what did Tyler Robinson do the day of September 10th, 2025, and why does it matter? We've learned a lot so far, including that Tyler Robinson, the man charged with killing Charlie Kirk, strolled Utah Valley University in shorts and a t-shirt and bought a meal at Chick-fil-A before it all went down, returning allegedly in different clothes to then go on to shoot the conservative activist from a rooftop. An investigator testified on Tuesday, and I wasn't expecting this.
Approximately 8:30 in the morning on September 10th, 2025.
And what leads you to believe that this particular vehicle belongs to Mr. Robinson?
Information that was provided regards to driver's license and Department of Motor Vehicle records. The vehicle fits the description of a vehicle owned by Mr. Robinson.
Is there anything unique about that vehicle that stands out to you?
The shape of the vehicle is very distinct, but predominantly the wheels were very distinctive on this version of the vehicle.
Now what do we see?
The driver of the vehicle exits the vehicle and then walks on foot to exit the parking garage. I believe that's Tyler Robinson.
Real piss poor explanation if you ask me, because hidden deep inside these hours of witness testimonies and the courtroom sparring, we have what seems like an ordinary piece of this like timeline that they're reconstructing, but the parts that completely shift everything force us to ask different questions now. And all these parts flew completely under the radar in all the daily press briefings up until this point, because Agent David Hull said, we were able to establish that Mr. Robinson had been on campus approximately 4 times throughout the day, twice before the shooting, the time of the shooting, and then after the shooting. So what else was he doing? This is the detail everyone overlooked.
What the make and model of the vehicle was that was tied to Mr. Robinson?
The Dodge Challenger.
Anything else beyond that that you remember?
It was silver in color, and I believe there were 2 registered owners of the vehicle.
Okay, and who are the registered owners?
Mr. Robinson and then his mother.
Do you recall whether or not a date of birth was included in that driver's license information that you got initially?
Yeah, I believe the actual driver's license record was shared, so it would have included a date of birth.
All right. With with Tyler Robinson's personal information, were you able to expand your search at all?
Yes, once we knew a vehicle that we were looking for and we had an actual image of the individual, then we were able to use that video footage to try and track that specific individual.
Did you do the same thing with that vehicle?
We did, yes.
Okay. Tracked it forward and backward?
Yes, using the UVU footage and additional information that was obtained, yes.
And I believe you said that in total, Mr. Robinson visited the UVU campus 4 times that day.
Yes, that's correct.
And let's just be clear, that's all based on UVU surveillance video. Is that fair to say?
That's correct, yes.
So this is the detail that was overlooked in the media and that the media seemed to miss and everyone else seemed to miss in this Charlie Kirk murder preliminary hearing. Real quick, today's episode is brought to you by Brickhouse Nutrition. Everyone's talking about weight loss injections because the results are so dramatic. They work by lowering your blood sugar and reducing your appetite. So what if you're looking to lose weight, but you're not interested in those painful weekly injections, especially when you hear about some of those intense side effects? Well, that's why doctors created a weight loss supplement called Lean, and the results are remarkable. The studied ingredients in Lean have been shown to lower your blood sugar, burn fat by converting it to energy, and curb your appetite and cravings so you're not as hungry. But listen, Lean is not for the casual dieter with only a few pounds to lose. The doctors at Brickhouse Nutrition created Lean for frustrated dieters with 10 or more pounds to lose. And let's get you started today with 20% off and free rush shipping so you can add Lean to your healthy diet and exercise plan. You can visit takelean.com and enter code Lauren, that's Loren, for your discount. That's promo code Lauren at takelean.com. We know the suspect was on campus 4 times the day of the shooting. Before, present. So he was clearly either stalking or planning. Something was going down. It's becoming less of a random act, allegedly. And they're using this to likely pursue maximum justice for Charlie Kirk and his family. However, this is where the story gets interesting. This is where it gets hard to ignore because Agent David Hull describes how someone believed to have been Tyler Robinson not only interacted with an officer on security detail following Charlie Kirk's murder, but there was something about the interaction that made him make note of the license plate. The newly released camera angles and the DNA dispute that brought the courtroom to a standstill, and the one overlooked moment that stopped me in my tracks, because it just might be the key in this entire case, was when the courtroom testimony dropped this bombshell. So under oath, investigator David Hall confirmed that Tyler Robinson made direct contact with Turning Point USA employees at the amphitheater where Charlie was set to speak hours before the assassination.
He heads out of the parking garage on foot into the campus and actually goes to the quad area of the campus. At that time, he makes contact with some representatives from TPUSA.
By quad area?
Sorry, the amphitheater is what I've previously referred it to.
All right.
So surveillance video shown in court captured Robinson doing all these things. What was he doing chatting with Turning Point USA? Why did Turning Point USA have a chat with this guy? They show Tyler Robinson arriving around 8:30 wearing gray shorts, red t-shirt, backpack, walking around campus, went to the amphitheater where Charlie was scheduled to speak, and approached members of Turning Point USA and the team before the event. The hearing did not establish who he spoke with or what was said during the investigation or how long the conversation lasted. We are still waiting on those details at that time of this recording. But prosecutors highlighted how the interaction shows that Robinson was scouting and confirming these things, but eventually then made his way to the rooftop where allegedly the fatal shot was fired. But he made contact with a police officer. And one of the more surprising revelations is that Robinson allegedly returned to the area while police were already conducting a massive manhunt. So according to the testimony, around 12:30 a.m. on September 11th, hours after the assassination, a gray Dodge Challenger approached an intersection near Utah Valley University. Robinson allegedly attempted to turn back towards campus. A police officer who was directing traffic or providing extra security briefly stopped and spoke with the driver. The conversation was short. Robinson was allowed to leave, but he wrote down the vehicle plate number.
And why do you believe that that vehicle was Mr. Robinson's vehicle?
When that vehicle was stopped, it actually made contact with an officer who was doing security detail.
Okay.
It was an interaction that I guess cop intuition, but there was something about the interaction that made him make a note of the license plate of the vehicle.
It was what they call cop intuition, that something felt weird. So they later realized that the vehicle belonged to Robinson. He surrendered roughly 22 hours later when his parents and family convinced him to turn himself in. And the hearing did not reveal what Robinson and the officer actually discussed during that roadside encounter. These encounters are significant, though. What I don't understand here, and what I think is the wildest part, is if the accuser is standing face to face with Kirk's own staff at the exact location of the event hours before the fatal shot is fired, you'd expect that to be part of the testimony. All these Turning Point USA people do is talk. Why haven't we heard that? Why haven't we heard anything about them having an interaction with Tyler Robinson, knowing that they had knowing that this was going to come out? Why didn't they bring that up sooner? The hearing established absolutely none of that. The hearing did not ask, did he ask about the security perimeter? Did Tyler Robinson ask where Charlie Kirk would be standing? You would expect those questions to be asked. Prosecutors just waved him on as scouting the location. But let's think about this like adults for a second. We're talking about a massive national organization that usually has cameras pointed at every single square inch of their events. They have staff whose entire job it is to advance logistics and security and prep. And you're telling me the guy who ended up being the accused walked right up to their team, had a conversation, and nobody remembers anything? Do they know exactly what was said? This is the detail that's being kept very, very quiet. Why is Turning Point USA completely silent about this specific interaction when they're so loud about literally everything else? If they didn't flag him then, why not? And if they did flag him, why was the event allowed to proceed? Or why wasn't there more attention towards that matter? Or certainly after the fact? So these moments paint a deeply unsettling picture of what's going on. Those are the questions nobody in the courtroom seems eager to answer. And we're not going to stop. We're going to keep digging in here. And we have a lot more questions than they seem to. So follow us wherever you get your podcast. Let us know in the comments what you think. Follow me on social. Find me. Let's keep this conversation going.